Okay, it's being recorded. Everyone, good night. I hope you're doing okay. We're going to take a quiz today to see what problems you have and how you do your tradings. Everyone has to share their screens, take an order so I can see what they do. Mr. Arash, please start. Before, please speak louder. Can you hear me now? Yes, it's good. This screen is a bit small. You can zoom in so you can have a bigger screen. I couldn't find it. Oh, let me do it for you. Is it good now? Yes, it's good. Thank you. If you click on the screen, you will have access. Let's move on to the gold chart. I think the gold market is closed down. I closed it. I wasn't paying attention. This is the gold chart. There you go. Alright, so let's move on to the weekly time frame to see what our market elasticity is. So we have V-shapes and reverse V-shapes. The second leg of the reverse V-shape is forming. It has to decline. So today, we're at the end of the week. If you let me, yeah, that's okay. You can delete anything you want. Do you want me to delete it for you? Yes, thank you. Thank you. So the candlestick that is completed this week is an ascending candlestick or a bullish candlestick. If it's completed like this, this is a bullish candlestick. It means that next week we're going to have an upward movement, but we have to wait to see if this shadow is opened or not. So last week we have had an uptrend, but our overall trend is a downtrend. Let's move on to the daily time frame. In our daily time frame, if you pay attention, we see that we have a swing high here. It is an ascending candlestick and it has caused an upward movement. We don't have a swing high so we can draw a trend line, but we have kind of a sideways trend right now. We can't draw a trend line here. We can only draw an overall trend line here. And this has been broken too. See, for example, in here, this trend line has been broken. The price has declined and it's touching it again. It has retraced. So we can draw our Fibonacci here as well. and we see that it has reached our 50 level, it has touched the 50 level, and then it has declined again. So naturally it has to reach the 38 level. So right now we're going to have a downtrend. Let's move on to the 4-hour time frame. We see that this big candlestick that was completed has reached the 50 level, and in here it has turned into an engulfing candlestick. The engulfment that is being performed is going to continue up until the pivot. Excuse me. So we have the 38 level of the Fibonacci, and we have one pivot here. We have to locate the pivots one by one. Please click on the screen. Okay, yes, that's good now. So I said that we have to locate the pivots. The pivots that we can consider, I have to zoom out. So in here, the price is at swing low. We have an open close pivot here. You have a partial trend line as well. Please be careful. In your midterm trend. In our midterm trend. You mean this? Yes, exactly. We have one trend line like this. So if we look at the trend line, it's going to reach our 61 level, where we have the 61 level, and we also have a candlestick and pivots, and we're probably going to have the retracement. So right now, because we have a downtrend, I think that we have to wait to see how long it's going to decline. We have to locate the pivots. So the pivots that I had located, we have one open close pivot here. The next pivot that we can locate is so the next pivot is where we have put our take profit. Yes, I think it's take profit. Right here. I am not going to draw the line so that it doesn't overlap your take profit. So in our downtrend, the price is going to reach this open close pivot. Yes, it has touched the pivot, and it's going to reach our second pivot, which is your take profit. So that is my analysis. And for later, if it retraces, if it doesn't break this pivot, and it continues its movement, it's going to reach the 38 level and then go up. And if this pivot is powerful and it causes a retracement, it's going to go up again and reach our 50 level again. We have another open close pivot here, and after that it's going to reach your stop loss, which is our 50 level. That is my analysis. I want you to take an order. Maybe you don't want to trade on this chart. You can trade on whichever chart that you want. I think we have to wait here. I think the trend is changing. It has reached this pivot and it's going up. So we have to wait to see if it's going to retrace to this trend line or not. I'm going to move on to another chart, for example, the euro dollar chart. So I'm going to understand the market elasticity. So in here, we have a bullish candlestick or an ascending candlestick. You don't have templates here, do you? Yes, I do. I don't want to waste the time of the class. There you go. Thank you. So in our weekly time frame, we see a bullish candlestick being completed. It's a swing high candlestick, and so next week we're probably going to see an upward movement. Let's move on to the daily time frame. So in our daily time frame, we see the V shapes and reverse V shapes. The reverse V shape is completed and the V shape is getting completed. We have a bullish candlestick. It has reached this pivot. It had touched it and it has caused a retracement. We have to look it up on our 4-hour time frame to see how it goes. In our 4-hour time frame, we see an engulfing candlestick that is completed here. In our hourly time frame, it was an engulfing candlestick, but in our 4-hour time frame, it's bullish. So if we want to locate the pivots, we have one here. I'm going to highlight the pivots. This is where we've had a retracement. The order that I'm going to take is going to be a buy order. And it's going to reach this pivot. Should I open the trade with one lot size or less? One is okay. Please determine your take profit and stop loss as well. I will put my take profit before this pivot because of this spread. And I will put my stop loss where the price is going to open this shadow from here. I think I should put it a little bit lower. So that was my order. And this is my first take profit. If I want to determine the second take profit, it's going to reach this pivot and this open close pivot that we have here. Although we have a trend line as well, if we draw it like this, it has been broken, so it's going to go up severely. We can say that we have this trend line here in our 4-hour time frame. Are you done? Yes, I am. I'm going to take away your access. Alright, so the students have commented that some of the students cannot enter the class. I don't think I don't have any problems here. Okay, so Mr. Sarai has commented that you started to trade exactly inside the pivot, which is a correct point. You see in here, the price has reached this area, it has touched the pivot, and then it has declined. So based on the candlesticks, we see a descending signal in our hourly time frame. So in here, it's true that the trend line has been broken. However, we're going to have a decline in this area, then it's going to go up. Your order was too risky in the short-term time frame, but in a long-term trade that was correct. In a, you see, in your long-term trading, you have an ascending signal and it's going to go up. Your prediction was good, but the entry point was not correct because you have done a risky trade. I'm not saying that it was incorrect, but because it was inside the pivot and it was very close to the pivot and it has collided the pivot once and it has caused a decline and the prices started to go up, you have traded very close to the pivot. The pivot is exactly above the price, so it's at the point where it has retraces, and that is where you have put your take profit. So the possibility of this candlestick going up in this candlestick is very low. In your next candlesticks, this is going to happen. And your stop loss is not correct because it's definitely going to be touched and then the price is going to go up. So in my opinion, your prediction of the market elasticity was correct. You were going to have an uptrend. Your analysis was right. But your entry point was incorrect. You shouldn't trade exactly where your pivot is. That is too risky. There's a possibility that this price is going to go further than this area or it's not going to go further than this area. So you should have put a buy stop here. It's not worth it to gain these few pips here. It's going to go further than this area, but I'm talking about at this moment. Your trade was too risky, and there is a high possibility that the price is going to reach your take profit because the price is going to go up eventually. But the best situation would be waiting for the price to go further than the pivot and then start a trade. Someone has asked that we have had two swing highs here. Yes, it's true, but it's going to go further than them. And I told you that in your weekly and daily time frame, the candlestick is bullish. So we're going to have an uptrend because in our weekly time frame, in our daily time frame, uh, the price is going to decline up until here, and after that we're going to have a retracement and the price is going to go up. Your prediction was correct and you said that the elasticity was upward, but your entry point was incorrect. If you wait, if you're patient, that will be better. I didn't pay attention to this here. This is its second collision with the pivot. So it has declined as well, but because it wasn't able to open this pivot, you predicted that your price was going to go up. I think this candlestick is powerful. Yes, it's true. The market elasticity was correct. The candlestick is powerful. And your take profit is definitely going to be touched eventually. The price is going to go up, but the order was risky. Yes, there is a possibility of retracement and our stop loss probably going to be touched. Yes, that's true. So the best situation would be exiting where your price reaches here, and you can put a buy stop right there. Your prediction and your analysis was very good, but about the entry point, you have problems. Pay more attention to your pivots and get the signal from the candlestick. I think did you pay attention to this area and you see that the price wasn't able to open this? I think it was because you've had an uptrend, you started buying. Yes, that is correct. And the bullish candlesticks are very powerful. So I think we're going to have a continuation candlestick. So that is probably why I thought this was a powerful candlestick and why I did that. Yes. And your price is going to touch this area next. The wall of the trend line here. And I think that you pointed to these pivots here. And you said that it's going to decline there, which is correct. Yes, we've had open close pivots there. Yes, your prediction was good. The analysis was great. But your entry point was not good. Yes, I have problems in my entry and exit points. Yeah, that would be better. That would be okay. Because when you can predict the elasticity correctly, you won't be worried when the price has fluctuations. But your stop loss was inaccurate. When you put it here, it's definitely going to be touched. I I think we should put it where it goes over the trend line. Yes, for example in here, because your elasticity is upward. So you have to expect this decline. When you rush into the tradings, you have to expect the price to do that. But the prediction was very good. It was great. Predicting the elasticity is very important, but your problem was taking the order inside the pivot. You have to pay more attention to your pivots. But if I'm right, I think that where this candlestick was started and it wasn't able to go further than this, and the engulfing is upward, you thought that this is going to be faded out and the price is going to go further than this area. Yes, because where I entered, the price had opened this area. You mean this? Yes, it has gone further than that and it was going up. That is why I thought that it was going to continue its upward movement and the candlestick was powerful enough to keep going up. Yeah, that is very good and you're not afraid. That is very good. Uh, and you were successful in that. You have to practice more so that you can determine your entry and exit points better. But uh, even if the price declined, because you knew that your elasticity was upward, you wouldn't have closed the order and you wouldn't have been stressed out. And you were good overall. Next up is Mr. Amir. You have access. Are you ready, Mr. Amir? I think you're too busy. Okay. Mr. Amir Hossein. Is Miss Abdullahi here? No, I don't think so. Okay, so Mr. Amir Hossein. Hi. Good night. You have access. If you click on the screen, you will have access. You can start trading on whichever chart you want. Can you see my pointer? Yes, we can. I'm going to choose the NZD-USD chart. So in this chart, we have the elasticity is downward. This is the trend line that we can draw. Although, because the internet connection is weak, that's okay. And we have a trend line like this. Well done. So this is telling us that next week, if this candlestick is completed like that, we're going to have an uptrend. Let's move on to the daily time frame. And in our daily time frame, if I want to draw another trend line, I would draw this trend line. I want to connect it to this swing high. Good job. So the daily elasticity is downward. If I want to draw the Fibonacci, it hasn't gone up too far, so I can draw the Fibonacci. So I will not draw the Fibonacci. Let's move on to the 4-hour time frame. The price has reached the trend line, but this is a bearish candlestick, so I have a pivot here that this candlestick was completed in. Please pay more attention about the pivots. Oh, we have this pivot here too. Try to get wider screens so you can see more pivots. That's correct. So we have one pivot here, and also I can draw another trend line from the bottom, and it forms a channel here. Is that correct? Or is that incorrect? Yes, it is correct. Good job. So, if I want to take an order here, I would put a buy stop above this area so that if it goes up, the order will be closed up until the next pivot, up until the pivot that I have, which is the yellow line here. So if the price opens this area, so I'm going to continue the trade up until here, and if it declines and the candlestick is completed like this, I will put the sell stop below this yellow line here. I'm going to continue the trade up until this swing low pivot. Please pay attention to your pivots. Excuse me, please repeat. Above that point you have pivots. You mean here? You see, it's the opposite. It's going up, so you have to consider the higher point. Yes, that's correct. So I'm going to determine buy stops and sell stops on the market, and whichever of them, if it's activated, I'm going to cancel the other one. That's correct. So please move on to your 1 minute time frame. In our 1 minute time frame, I'm going to wait for the price to reach this area so I can start selling, or if it declines, I'm going to wait for it to reach this area so I can start buying. This pivot here. No, I mean, please wait. Please take an order. In our 1 minute time frame, You can choose any chart you want. Just I want you to take an order for me.
خب من الان
I
دسترسی
don't have
ندارم.
access right now. Please click on the screen. Yes, you do have access now. Let me fix it for you. It's okay now. Click on the screen.
خب من الان منتظر
So I'm
میمونم
going to
بیاد
wait
این
for the
بالا.
price to
اگه بیاد این بالا
come up
میگیرمش.
here. If it
اگه
does, I'm going
نیاد
to start
بالا
trading.
الان
But if
منتظر
it
میمونم
doesn't,
بیاد
I'm
واسه
going to
دسترسی
wait for
بشه.
it to see what happens. What do you mean?
خروج میزنم
If
اگه
it
این
reaches
واسط
here, I'm
برسه به
going to
این
start
پیوت من
selling. If it
برسه
reaches this
ازش
pivot
میگیرم.
here,
الانم
I
میتونم
can. I
کلیک
think I
بکنم
can
برای فروش.
start
خیلی نقطه بدی
selling here
نباشه.
as well. I think it's a good
اینجا
spot.
چند پیپ هست؟
Let me see how many pips we have in this distance.
این خیلی مقدار پیپش کمه. ارزش
No, it's not
ارزشی
worth it.
نداره.
Please wait. I'm going to move on to a chart with lower spread. This one is good. If you click on the screen, you will have access.
اول اینجا رو درست کنم.
Let me write it down for you. Now it's better. Click on the screen.
من الان اینجا
So in here,
بای
I'm
میگیرم
going to start buying. Yeah, do anything you want.
و تیپی من میارم.
I'm going to put my take profit. Please drag it. Yes.
که در واقع به این پیوت من
So
باشه
if this is my
و حد
pivot, I'm going
ضررم
to put
بخوام
my
بذارم باید
stop
این
loss.
اینجا رو نباید دیگه
I
پایین
think I
تر بیاد،
shouldn't
در واقع بگیره
I
ضرر من.
shouldn't put it below this swing low pivot here. All right. Pay attention to your candlesticks
راست
as
میگید
well.
اشتباه
Oh
کردم. اینجا
yes,
این
you're right.
کندل داره
This
میگه که
candlestick is
اینجا
telling me
یه
that
نزول
we're going
خواهیم
to have a
داشت. من
decline.
ضربهش رو دیدم به سمت بالا، برای
I
همین
thought it was
بالش رو گرفتم.
ascending. That is why I started buying.
راست میگید.
Write down the technical points and check on them constantly because I know you're going to forget some of them. And when I had opened the order, I just remembered them. But you can, you see, for example, you have an upward elasticity. For imagine this is your own account. Imagine you're trading on your own account. I don't want you to ruin your tradings or orders.
الان من بذار اینجا بذارم.
The take profit is closed.
سرعت شما استاد یه
I
مقداری
think you're
شرمنده
too
ببخشید.
fast. No, that's okay. That was good. The elasticity was upward. You predicted it correctly. You have to use the candlesticks too. The pivots were correct. You saw the candlesticks and you predicted the elasticity well, but I think you didn't pay attention to the candlesticks. You see, the elasticity helps you a lot to determine if the candlestick is going to be performed or not. You see, your elasticity was upward, but the candlestick was bearish. So it would have been risky to take a sell order, but that's okay. So in here, you started the trade exactly on this candlestick. So you have to pay attention to your candlesticks as well. Because you entered on this candlestick, you should have waited until it opened the price from top or bottom. But because you saw it after opening the order, you got stressed out. When I wanted to adjust my stop losses and take profits, it was closed down. No, that's okay. And your analysis was correct as well. You said that we had to buy there, right? I would put a buy stop above the 4-hour candlestick and a sell stop below it because it was forming a reversal candlestick in our 4-hour time frame. And here a buy stop and in here a sell stop, right? Yes, that is correct as well. That was great. Good job. But you have to please write down your strategies on a piece of paper so you can see them all the time. Or you can even write them down on the chart so that you can see them all the time. And then you'll know that you have to use all of them. We have 6, so it's natural to forget one of them. That was great. Thank you. Thank you. Miss Sarah, are you in the class? Miss Abdullahi, can you hear us? Miss Abdullahi, are you ready? Mr. Hashemi. Mr. Hashemi, can you hear us? Yes, yes, I can. So I'm going to give you access. Excuse me. I just arrived home and my laptop is turned off. Please speak louder. If that's okay, I'm going to be the next person to take the quiz. I just turned on my laptop. Okay, that's fine. Mr. Fatih. Mr. Fatih, are you in the class? Mr. Fatih. Try to attend these classes. These are very helpful. Mr. Sahri? Yes. I'm going to give you access. Now you have access. Please click on the screen. Yes, I do have access. Can you hear me now? And can you see my pointer? Yes, we can. So, what chart should I choose? Any chart you want. It doesn't matter. So, I'm going to choose this chart and I'm going to move on to the weekly time frame to determine the elasticity. I think the internet connection is weak. It has delay. No, that's okay. I see what you're doing. I'm sorry, I think it's stuck. That's okay. If it's not adjusted, that's fine. So this is our trend line, and I'm going to locate the pivots. So in here, this is our second line. I don't know which one is our first line. I'm going to delete this. So in here we have a very powerful area. We have several open close pivots. Right now the price is at the open close pivots. We have 3 open close pivots. And in here the price is exactly inside the open close pivots, and the price is not going to decline much. And the candlestick is also bearish and descending, but I think this is a very powerful area and we're going to have a pullback. You see we have an ascending triangle here. Yes. Yes, it's the ascending triangle. I think it shows us that we're going to have a pullback and it's technically going to go up. So let me see what we have in our daily time frame. In our daily time frame, this trend line that I have, I should adjust it. Maybe we're going to have a rejection here. It's declining right now up until the pivot. I don't think it's going to decline much. It's going to only touch these pivots up until these pivots. Uh, please repeat. I told you. Uh, how long did you tell us that it was going to decline? We have one open close pivot here, so if it wants to decline, it's going to decline up until the yellow line that I have here. The pivots that I have located. It's going to only decline up until here, but if it goes further than that, it's going to reach the trend line at its maximum. Let me draw the 4-hour. Let me draw the trend lines in our 4-hour time frame as well, but I don't think it's very useful. So the trend lines are showing us that the elasticity is downward. The elasticity is downward, so it's going to decline up until the area that I have highlighted. And right now the price is exactly inside the pivot, so I can't do anything. I can neither buy nor sell because the price is inside the pivot. So I'm going to move on to shorter time frames to see what we have. Although I can't draw the Fibonacci here. This is my partial Fibonacci. It's exactly on my 61 level. And it's exactly overlapping the pivot, so I shouldn't do anything, and I should wait to see if the 61 level is going to be broken or not. If it goes further than this area, I can start selling, but if it doesn't, I'm not going to do anything. Let's move on to the 4-hour time frame. In our 4-hour time frame, it has gone a little bit further than the trend line. It's going to decline more up until the area that we have determined. So it seems like with the elasticity, it's going to decline up until this area. And if it goes further than that, it's going to decline up until the crossover that we have here. And here. That's okay. Don't be afraid to take orders. You can do anything you want. Let me check the shorter time frames as well. Let me zoom out. So right now we're at the prices on the pivots here. So I'm going to locate our next pivots to see if it goes further than this area. Where should I enter? If it goes further than this area, so I'm not going to take any decisions here or do anything. If it was my own account as well, I wouldn't have started trading because we're on the pivot right now. We don't know what we should do. Um, you're afraid. You're too afraid. The price is far away from the pivots. Oh no, I'm afraid. No, please stop. When you say you don't know what to do, it shows it that you're afraid. Right now, you know that your elasticity is downward. You know the price is going to decline, but you're afraid. You're afraid it's going to, and you think you should wait until it touches the pivots. Don't be afraid. Be All of your strategies and all of your time frames are telling you that you're going to have a downtrend based on Fibonacci, swing lows, trend lines, everything. Once I took an order, so I'm going to locate the pivots right now. It, drag it a little bit higher. Don't put it exactly on the pivots. That's okay, that's good. I think this is a good area. I'm going to determine the stop loss. I have lost so many times that I'm afraid. No, you should put it right here. You're dragging it too high. It's good. Don't be afraid. So it's normal to be afraid because you have lost. Yes, I have lost a lot. I lost all of my money. No, that's okay. But if you're afraid, you're going to lose even more. You shouldn't be afraid. That is what causes you a loss. Yeah, it's only because I'm afraid I made a few mistakes today too. I determined my stop loss on the Dow Jones chart, but exactly when I started selling, it retraced. You see, working on the Dow Jones chart is too soon for you because its its fluctuations are too wild. You shouldn't trade on that right now. The fluctuations are too severe. The $500 that I lost was on the oil chart and the Dow Jones chart. I'm too afraid and I can't do anything. Even when I look at the chart, I'm afraid. No, you shouldn't be afraid. You should be powerful. You're an analyzer. Your analysis was great, was really good. When you're analyzing and you say that the price is going to reach there, start the trade. Don't be afraid. You're afraid you're looking at the price declining and it declines, but then you change your strategy. You think that I guess it's going to reach this area, or I think it's going to retrace. What if it retraces? You see, you're changing your strategy. And here in our daily time frame, this area has been opened. So when this was opened and we see a hook pattern here, it is showing us that we're going to have a decline, right? So, and also, what are your main pivots? One of them is this and this and this one. These three are in the same row. These two aren't. So when you take an order, it's going to go up a little bit at its maximum and then it's going to decline again. So this shouldn't cause you to change your strategy or lose your strategy. It doesn't matter if it goes up a little bit. That's okay. This is a stepway trend. That's okay if it comes up a little bit. You'll know what your elasticity is, so you shouldn't get stressed out. You see, when you have predicted the elasticity and when you know that you have a downtrend, you shouldn't be afraid anymore because you know your elasticity. I got afraid from the 61 level. I thought it was going to have a retracement there. Let me show you something. In this, in between these 2 points, you don't have any pivots. The elasticity is downward. You have a downtrend. If it's going to decline, it's going to come down up until here and then decline again. If you have chosen the right lot size, nothing's going to happen to you. It's going to reach here, you're going to lose. That's correct. But after that, you're going to gain money. When when you start losing, you shouldn't close the order because eventually you're going to gain money. You see, look at this here. What has happened here? The central trend line is broken. When that happens, it means that it's going to reach the main one. If it didn't happen today, it's going to happen tomorrow. If it doesn't happen tomorrow, it's going to happen the next day. Don't be afraid. The main point is to predict the elasticity correctly. You're all the same. The previous student was the same. When you predict your elasticity correctly, that's okay if the price is having fluctuations. When the price goes up, you get afraid and you start buying, you start hedging. You're going to start hedging when your trend has completely changed. And here, the trend hasn't changed. It's going to come up just a little bit and then decline again. You shouldn't trade the opposite of the market elasticity. The elasticity is downward. And your trend line is telling you that you're going to have a downtrend. And the trend line is performing very well here. So, right here, this is where you should put your take profit. This is our first central trend line. You have another one before that. These 3 points. You see, it has been broken, so it's going to decline up until here. Don't be afraid. The candlesticks are giving you a descending signal. Yes, it still has room to decline. But don't imagine it's too close to the pivots. It's far away. It's not only 2 or 3 pips of distance. It still has room to reach the pivot. It's true that you're trading too late, maybe, but you shouldn't be afraid. When you predict the elasticity correctly, well, you know you're going to have a downtrend and it's going to decline eventually. You shouldn't be afraid. You know that it has to come down. So, if it goes up 10 or 20 pips, don't be afraid. Don't close the order. But I think we can say that it was logical to be afraid because it was close to the pivot. But your fear makes you confused, makes you change your strategy. That shows me that you're afraid. You know, the interesting point is that I wasn't afraid at all in the past. But because I lost a lot of money in my accounts, in my Dow Jones charts and oil charts, I got afraid. Dow Jones is a very dangerous currency pair. Even I myself, I don't trade on that chart too much. Only in the circumstances that it has a sideways trend in it, because it has severe fluctuations. Yes, last night I told you that it's going to decline up until here. But look at the big fluctuations, big candlesticks in this chart here. Each one of the candlesticks is 1 pip. But you shouldn't be afraid. Comply with the rules. Believe in yourself. Be powerful. You're a trader. You're an analyzer. A trader knows how to analyze the chart. When you analyze the chart, you know that it's going to decline up until there. You shouldn't just watch it happen. Don't be afraid when you say that there's a possibility it's going to decline up until here. When you're guessing, it's completely obvious that you're afraid. Even if you have made the mistake, that's okay. You can turn it into a long-term trade because you have the confirmations based on the strategies. The trend line is giving you a confirmation. Your long-term trade is downward, is a downtrend. Because these walls are close to the pivots, you can see that your short-term trades is ascending, but your overall elasticity is downward. If you're not taking a short-term order, why should you be worried about the upward movements? You shouldn't be afraid. Imagine your demo accounts are real. Imagine you have a real account and two of your accounts are being closed with loss. So try to trade on that. Try to practice so that you're not afraid anymore. Don't pay attention to your lot size. You see, today I'm using 1 lot size. When you're trading, when you take an order with 1 lot size, you have a lot less fear when you're compared to when you're trading with 10 lot sizes. A trader knows how to analyze the chart. That's how they have become a trader. You're predicting the elasticity and your prediction is correct, so you shouldn't be afraid. The reason you're afraid is because you're analyzing on your short-term time frame, but you're trading on your long-term time frame. And you don't make any mistakes in your tradings, but you get afraid when the price has fluctuations, the opposite of what you thought it would. So you keep on closing your orders and losing money. Don't trade on the Dow Jones chart. It has severe fluctuations. It's too soon for you. You see, this one candlestick in my Dow Jones chart, it calls more than 1,000 pips. So that's a lot. Dow Jones causes us a lot of loss. Yes, you have to have a lot of money to trade on the Dow Jones chart. For example, this is giving us a descending signal and it was below the pivot, so it's either going to be an engulfing candlestick or a descending one. And you can see the candlestick base. and the candlestick is bearish. So it's going to decline up until this pivot. And because these pivots are not equivalent and in the same rows, they're not very powerful. The price has touched them. When the price is able to touch the pivot is not powerful. These are the ones that are in the same row. So you shouldn't have been afraid. Do you agree? This is your order. This is the order you opened. You shouldn't have been afraid because you predicted the elasticity correctly. Your analysis was really good. But try not to be afraid. Be fearless. When you open a new order, that's okay if you lose. Don't keep on thinking you're going to lose your money. Don't be afraid. The only place in this market your fear is going to lose money. If you're not fearless, if you're powerful on the market, you're going to be successful. If you're afraid on the market, you're going to lose. Thank you. You're welcome. So next up is Mr. Torquay. Yes, I am here. Are you ready? I'm going to give you access. I'm going to put the stop loss here so that this order is closed. Mr. Turkey, if you click on the screen, you will have access. You can choose any chart you want, except for the ones that are already analyzed. So I can choose any chart I want? What do you mean? So any chart that I choose is okay? Yes, except for Euro, Gold, and NZD. You can trade on other charts. What about Euro JPY? Yes, you can choose any other charts that you want. Please speak louder. So I want to take a sell order here. Why? Because the elasticity is downward. Move on to your 4-hour time frame. The lower shadow of that candlestick is longer, so it's an engulfing candlestick. So we're going to take a buy order up until this edge here. The price is inside the pivot right now. What should we do? No, you see, the market in this currency pair is not good. If that happens, you have to change another currency pair to trade on. So don't be stuck with just one currency pair all the time. So for example, this is not a good chart for trading. So you have to move on to another chart or change the time frame. This is not a good one either. Let me. We have a sideways trend in this currency pair. If you want to choose a chart, please review all of the charts and to see which ones are better and more in a better order technically. For example, in the C80 chart, you see several candlesticks next to each other, so we have a sideways trend. It's not an appropriate chart for trading. You can trade on this chart and your USD JPY. Draw the Fibonacci so that you can predict the elasticity in your 4-hour time frame. Good job. You checked the time frames.
تغییری بکنید ولی خب با یه 40 دقیقه صبر کنید.
I think we should wait
40 دقیقه
40
صبر کنید.
minutes or 30 minutes until this candlestick is completed.
خب
Yes, that's correct.
زومش کنم.
Let me zoom in.
دوستان یه قله داریم اینجا.
We have a swing high candlestick here,
هم شکلش کامل
but it's not completed yet, and it's not bearish, it's bullish.
کنیم یه بای استاپ یا
I think we can
بای لیمیت.
determine a buy stop or a buy limit here.
دوستان اینا پنز چطور تغییرش یکیش کنم اول.
Um, how do I change this? Mr. Turkey, I'm going to take away your access for a moment. You haven't practiced much. You see, let me delete this as well. In your weekly time frame, you should have drawn this trend line. And when you zoom in on the chart, you don't see a lot of things on the market. You can draw this Fibonacci. The price has reached the 38, then it has retraced to 23, and it's declining again. It wants to reach the 50 level. So in your daily time frame, you didn't pay attention that your swing lows have been completed below each other. So it shows you that your elasticity is downward. In your 4-hour time frame, we have a trend line like this that has been rejected. And this is your new trend line. And you see you've had another trend line that was broken. Like that. It's been broken. And also you can draw the Fibonacci here. The price has broken at the 61 level, so it's trying to reach the 78 level. And it's trying to break that one. Excuse me, touch it. So there's a possibility of a decline up until here. If you see that it has retraced here, it's because of the pivots that you've had. These pivots. You have to check the market watch. That was good. That's a good technique to use. You checked the market watch and you to determine how much you have left until your 4-hour candlestick is completed, so that this swing high candlestick is formed. So you determined a buy stop, but you were too confused because so you're afraid you haven't practiced much and you didn't use any of the techniques that we talked about. You should use the candlesticks. You should use all of these technical strategies. Uh, you said that 30 minutes from now the candlestick is going to get completed. If this area is open, it's going to come up until here. But I think you imagined that maybe it declines as well, and you wanted to look for a buy limit so that you could put it here. Is that correct? No, I want to put a sell limit. No, that would be wrong because you have a 78 level and also the swing low pivot here. So you should put a buy limit here. But I was looking for the buy stop to put it here. Oh, you were looking for a buy stop? If you wanted to put a buy limit or a buy stop here, your stop loss would have been here. Exactly in this point area. And another one would be here. Although you don't use the strategies, you didn't consider the swing lows and Fibonacci. You were drawing the trend lines, but you didn't draw the midterm trend lines. You haven't practiced much. It's obvious. So because you're busy, because you don't have much time during the day, that's okay, but you have to practice more. In your longer time frames, you see a change of the trend. And in your midterm time frame, it is giving you a signal. You see, in your 4-hour time frame, the swing lows have been completed above each other, so that was natural as well because of the daily correction. But now that it's completed in here and it has gone further than this area, so it's going to continue its movement, its downward movement. It's going to decline up until here. It's going to break the 38 level because it has retraced on that level before. So you didn't use the techniques, and if you start trading like this, you're going to lose. You have to practice. I know you're busy, I know you don't have much time, but you have to practice more and you have to use all of the strategies. Thank you. You're welcome. Let me see if there's anybody left because I want to explain some things. Okay, you see, most of you were able to predict the market elasticity well. Some of you are afraid. Mr. Arash was not afraid at all. He was really good, but he wasn't paying attention to the pivots. So obtaining the elasticity is good, but you have problems in your entry points. It depends on some things, your candlesticks and your shorter time frames and also your pivots. But in your longer time frames, you'll know exactly how to predict the elasticity. But when you can't locate the pivots, it means that you rush into your orders. The reason why you can't find your correct entry points is because you don't know about candlesticks and pivots well. If you do that, if you practice, that's okay because you're very good at predicting the elasticity. You're very good at predicting where the price is going to go. But when I tell you to start trading, you get scared. So you have to, and you try to analyze the chart more. That is wrong. You have to practice the subject of candlesticks and pivots. In our workshop, when we're doing the real tradings, you'll know that how we can use the candlesticks and pivots to know exactly where to enter. So try to practice more. And you have to use all of the techniques. It depends on you. If you don't comply with these rules, this is going to be it. You'll know the techniques, but you don't know where exactly to use them. Any questions?
استاد ببخشید یه سوال
Excuse
دارم.
me, I have a question
این بحث باز شدن گردنه
about
ها
the
زمانیه که
necks
میخواد حجم
being
روند شکل
opened.
بگیره
When we
درسته؟
have a reversal candlestick, that is where we pay attention to that. What do you mean by neck? You mean here? This neck here or the
نه
bottom neck
استاد
there?
من یه مقداری تو همین گردنه ها
Yes,
خیلی
that is
قرار دارم.
exactly where I have problems. I don't know how to identify them. If the neck is at the bottom and the price is going up and it wants to open this neck, a continuation candlestick is going to be formed, not a reversal candlestick. However, if this neck here is opened and the candlestick has declined and you have a pivot here, imagine this candlestick has declined up until here and the pivot is here. So in those situations, expect a swing high or a reversal candlestick. But when the price goes further than this deck, than this neck here, or it goes further than the tip of your V shape, we have
الان
a
استاد اینجا
continuation
دیگه تو گروه
candlestick.
23 گردنه رو باز کرده
I
دیگه
think it has
درسته؟
opened the neck in our 23
یعنی
level,
اینجا
right?
که
Yes, that's correct.
کندل دومی شکل گرفته
Where
عملا
we've had
گردنه
a
باز شده که به
second
سمت بالا
candlestick,
بره.
it has opened the neck and it's going to go up. Yes, exactly. The necks are 90% of the necks are where your 23 levels are. The reason why in the books you say that you shouldn't start trading when the price is below the 38 level, it's because your 23 level is where the necks are. So when the price goes further than that, you know that the neck has been opened. For example, in here, if this neck here is open, the candlestick is going to decline severely. It's going to form a stepway
الان حالت
trend.
آبشاریه دیگه استاد.
It's like a waterfall. Yes, I was wrong. It was a waterfall pattern.
زمانی که کندل آخری گردنه رو باز بکنه این
When the neck,
همین فرضی که
last
شما بیان
candlestick
میشه زمانی که
opens
اون
the neck,
کندل
it would
آخری
be a
گردنه رو باز کنه
waterfall
به
pattern.
شدت دیگه
So it's going
حالت
to decline severely. Yes, exactly. And the opposite is also correct. When the neck is open from the top, when that swing low is open, it's going to go up severely. So the best situations to start trading is here, where the necks are opened. Let me show you an example. For example, in your pound chart, this neck here has been opened and the next candle has declined like this. Or the neck from the top that was opened, you see that it has gone up severely. It's because of the pivots that it was stopped. Or in your Eurodollar chart, the neck here is in this area, and after that you see a severe decline. And it's the same in here. If the neck here is open, it's going to go up like that. In your AUD/USD chart, in here, it has touched this neck. It hasn't opened it completely. If that happens, it's going to go up severely. We have pivots here. But if the neck from the bottom is opened, I have put a sell stop here. The spread has made it open, but if the neck here is open, it's going to decline severely. It could decline in just one movement, in just one candlestick.
چه پیوتش قویه استاد.
The pivot is very powerful, and you have an open close pivot there. In your NZD chart, the neck here has been broken here. You see the decline. So you can start selling freely in these areas. That's what I do when I'm stuck in the market. These happen. You don't have a neck here in your AUD chart. In your CHF chart, if you look at this, when the previous students were analyzing this, we have a neck here that was opened. We have a candlestick base. The candlestick bases are considered as necks as well. You see that it has opened it and it has declined. And here it was opened as well, this neck here. And it has declined, but it has to come even further down because this is opened from there. In your CHF chart, if this area is open, it's going to go up severely. And if this area is opened, because we don't have a bottom, a neck in the bottom, we only have one at the top. So if that is open, it's going to go up severely. Like in here, the price has opened the neck there, like exactly there. See that? And you can see that it has gone up severely. It's the same in your gold chart. The gold is starting to decline from here. Let's see what happens. But about where exactly it's going to decline severely, it will be in this area. It's going to have fluctuations here, or up there, where we have this neck here, but at the bottom we don't have any. If this area is open, it's going to go up, and you can gain 50 pips of profits
استاد
easily.
ببخشید این
Excuse me,
گردنها توی اون
about the
کالکولیشن که
necks.
شدن تو کدوم قسمت قرار میگیره؟
In our 6 strategies, which one of them is
اگه بخوایم
about the
فایده رو
necks?
بکنیم
If
تو
we want to
کدوم
get the
قسمت باید فاکتور
factorization,
بیسته حساب تو پیوتا باید در نظر
is
بگیریم.
it the same as our pivots? Yes, in our pivots, your Fibonacci and also your candlestick. A candlestick base is considered a neck like this, as you can see here. And in your Fibonacci is your 23 level.
برای پیوت
And in our patterns, it's our stepway pattern.
توی پیوتا میشه گودی در استاد.
In our pivots, it's a swing low pivot. Yes, you can say that. For example, in here, this V shape or reverse V shape that we've had, the swing low of them is
هر از گاهی
our
توی اوپن
necks.
کلوز هم اتفاق بیفته
And
استاد
it
به خاطر
sometimes
اینکه
happens in
کلکل
our
شده.
open close pivots as well. Yes, it does, because the open close ones are at the bottom or top of our charts. So it's the same as our pivots.
اگه بخوایم بیسیک کندلی هم حساب کنیم
So
اولا از
if we want
پیوتا
to
شاملش میشه
do
دیگه. شما
consider a candlestick base, it starts from the pivots, right? Yes, exactly.
ممنون استاد.
Thank you. You're welcome. Mr. Turkey, you said that I have a paradox in my psychological points. What is it? You see, excuse me, I have heard before, and it has caused me to have doubts in my mind when we want to take an order. Yeah, that is because you have fear. That's because you're scared. If you're not scared anymore, you're not going to think about those doubts. Excuse me. I have another question. When you said that I have to practice, you mean that I should rewatch these videos, or should we practice? No, you see, I have taught you 6 strategies. You have to use all of them. Don't use just one of them. If you use just one of them, you're going to have errors and you're going to make mistakes. And you're going to forget about the other strategies. You have to use all 6 of them. For example, when you're You want to trade on your gold chart, start analyzing the gold chart. It means that you have to, it doesn't, the order doesn't matter, but you have to use all of them. For example, you can start by analyzing the chart by Fibonacci, and then you can draw your trend lines. You can then pay attention to your swing lows. After that, you can locate your pivots, and after that, you can pay attention to your candlesticks.
سوالم اون نبود.
But that wasn't my question.
میگم که
What was your question? I said that
میگه ما این فایل
when
های
you say
کلاس رو
that
چند بار تکرار
we should
کنیم
practice, should we rewatch the videos or should we practice on the market ourselves and take orders? You should rewatch the videos of the class to learn the techniques well. But after that, you have to practice on your demo accounts and take orders. And in order to not be afraid anymore, you can take a $100 or $200 only for practicing. The reason why I told you to have a real account with $100 of deposit because you don't have any fears. You see, if you have $100 or $200 in a real account for practice purposes only, you will not have fears. Start practicing, rewatch the videos, all of the videos of the class, all of the recorded versions that I have sent you. So you'll know how to use them, and after that, you can take orders on a real account. Trade with the strategies. When you're trading, you have to use the strategies. You haven't practiced enough. Maybe you have rewatched the video, but you haven't practiced. Or maybe you haven't even watched the videos of the class because you didn't use all of the strategies. There are 6 strategies. Learn all of them well. Know the techniques of using them, and after that you can practice on your real accounts with a lot size of 0.01. You may lose, that's okay. Close that order and open a new one. You just want to practice. If you want to don't have any fears, you have to trade on real accounts. You see, for example, I had a bet with one of the brokers that I was going to gain him $200 in an hour. I gained the $200 in 15 minutes and I exited. I wanted to prove to him that that is possible because I wasn't afraid and I used heavy lot sizes. Because I don't have any fears, I'm successful. Because techniques always work, they're always the same. You just have to know where to use them. Or when you're using them, you shouldn't be afraid. It was around this area. Yes, it was here. You shouldn't be afraid. If you're not afraid, I can assure you you'll be successful because you'll know the techniques, you'll know the strategies, and they perform well. But you should not have fears only. I think one of you, Mr. Sahrai, I guess, he was very afraid. The analysis was correct, but he was afraid to take orders in that moment. He was having doubts. I told you that if you want to be successful, if you want this to be your job, if you want to gain money from this, you should be fearless on the market. Don't be scared, don't be afraid. That's okay if I lose. Don't put your whole money on the market, only 1/3 of it, or at its maximum half of it. That is how you can lose your fears. Don't be afraid, comply with the rules, use the techniques and strategies, and you'll see how well it works out for you. practice. You have to experience this. If I keep talking till the morning, you're not going to learn it until you've experienced it. My monthly trades are very heavy. When I was a trader, right now I'm not a trader because I'm very busy. I'm not online on the market. And I have errors in my tradings because I'm not a trader anymore. When I was a trader, my monthly income was a lot because I was complying with the rules and techniques. And I lose money too. Sometimes I gain a money, but next week I lose a lot of it. But at the end of the month, I see that I have gained profits. That is what matters. The end result matters. It doesn't matter if you have lost money today or you have gained an amount of money today. You can trade for 21 days. It's not like that necessarily you're going to gain money on every single one of those 21 days. If you lose, don't be after revenging the market. Next day you can make up for it. But you shouldn't repeat the mistakes from yesterday. Determine why you made a loss. What was your mistake? Why didn't you gain profits? Why are all of your accounts losing? When you know exactly what your mistakes are, you're going to avoid them next time. I told you that I haven't taken any lessons or haven't read any books about the markets and forex. I learned them all by myself. One night I was taking a new order, and when it reaches some certain areas, I start buying. When it comes down, I start selling, and then it goes up. I tried to do the opposite one time, but I said that it's not happening. But then I went further back on the market, and then I understood that these candlesticks are complying with certain rules. Those candlesticks are not completed just like that. So I went back in the market and I said that this candlestick that was completed like that, the next candlestick has declined. So I tried to find more examples and I could find more examples. So I started trading and it got better, but I had errors still. So I said that if this white candlestick has shadow on one side and no shadows and on the other side, how does that work? That is how I learned the candlesticks. I got the signals from the candlesticks from the past. You see, I didn't know what it was called. When I saw this candlestick, I started buying. And I saw that I was gaining profits. I see that it was working out for me. And then I started taking opposite orders. I didn't even know what the pivots were. I didn't know why the price would retrace there. I put a line there to see what has happened that the price has retraced here. And I saw that in the past, we've had fluctuations and shocks and retracements in these lines. And I saw that it was because of the pivots. So when the price reaches this, it's going to retrace. So I located the pivots in the past with lines, and I was also paying attention to the candlesticks. I would take orders and I would see that it's performing really well. It's working out. That's how I understood what these are. That's when I understood there are some things called pivots. That is why that's okay if you lose money, if you make mistakes, but you have to know exactly what your problem was, exactly what your mistake was. Why did you lose money in this account? Why did it decline when you started buying? Because you have delay, because you're afraid to take the order in its right position. When a candlestick is opened from each side, it's going to continue its movement in that direction. In the past, I used to see the new candlestick opens the previous one from what direction. If it, I would wait for the new candlestick to get completed so I can see what is going to happen. You know all the techniques and strategies now, but you don't know how and when to use them exactly. Please use all of the 6 strategies that I have taught you. Draw out all of them and you will be successful. I have been working on the market for 15 years. I was 16 years old when I opened the first account. I was a freshman and I opened an account. I think it was $10, $10,000. I gained $2,000 on that exact night, but the day after that, I lost all of it. You see, I have only worked on real accounts. I haven't worked on demo ones. But I wanted to gain money from the market. I was determined to do that. And I have lost some things. My eyes are weaker. My hands shake sometimes. I'm nervous sometimes. But I have gained a lot of things as well. I told you, the rule of business in the world is that if you want to gain something better, you have to lose something. You can't keep all of them. And you have to lose something to gain something. I was 18 hours online on the market looking at the candlesticks. Maybe it has happened that I haven't slept for 2 days straight or 3 days straight because I was busy trading. In your demo accounts, the reason why you gain profits is because you're not afraid. That is exactly why you gain money. Because you're not always looking at the candlesticks, you're not always watching. You do your analysis, and after that you start taking orders and you gain your money because you are not scared, because you know that that's not real money. You're afraid to take orders on your real accounts though, because it's real money. But don't be afraid. If you're afraid, you're going to lose. You're going to ruin your accounts. Don't say that, okay, I'm going to comply with the rules later and start trading when the money is added to your accounts. All of the things that you wanted to do, forget all of them. And after that, you regret that you forgot them. And you keep on repeating the same mistakes, and you're going to lose everything. Because you weren't thinking about where I have made a mistake. What was my mistake? You have to be very, very powerful psychologically to be successful in this market. This is the rule of the business. And you can be successful in any business that you want. And you laugh at this in the future. You just have to believe in yourself. Believe in your beliefs to be successful. If you have two friends and you're telling them that next year I'm going to buy this car or I'm going to gain that amount of money, when you say they laugh at you, laugh at them. Tell them I believe in myself. I told you that you have to tell your mind, tell your brain what to do. The way I think is very different from a lot of people. My mindset is different because I, I'm telling you, no one is going to help you until you want to help yourself. If someone is poor, someone is homeless, it's because they haven't been using their mind. If someone is becomes a great businessman from a homeless man because they have believed in themselves, believe in your beliefs. You're not going to be able to do anything unless you want it. Want it so it can happen for you. I told you, if you haven't complied with the rules, if you haven't used the techniques, not even God Himself is going to help you. When you take a new order, don't just pay attention to your loss. Don't think that, oh, whoa, I lost everything. I lost a lot of money. That's okay if you lose. Just pay attention to your analysis. Pay attention to the chart. Don't keep on stucking the money. If you keep on looking at this, you'll know that you had to take draw a high to low Fibonacci. You would have known that you had to draw this trend line here. If anybody tells you that you have to be lucky on the market to gain money, that is totally wrong. There are rules, there are techniques that you have to comply with. There are these professional traders that cause the fluctuations of the market, and they are creating and building this market based on the techniques, and so you have to comply with the rules of them to know exactly where to buy. You have to go with the flow of those traders, and we see that when everyone starts selling, the price comes down. So you have rules here. When the 23 level is broken, it has to go up. It must go up. Be powerful. Don't be afraid. If you have analyzed the market, tell yourself that it has to come up to here so I can open an order. If your techniques, if you have complied with the techniques when you have traded, give someone a $100 real account and tell them to start buying whenever the price is going to go up and sell whenever it's going down. And watch them gaining a lot of money because they're not afraid, because they don't know what it is. When you have learned everything, that is when you're going to be scared. You're going to doubt yourself. If you have doubts, don't trade. Wait for the confirmation. If you get the confirmation, you can start trading. If you made a mistake, if you understood that your analysis was wrong, close the order. If you continue it, it's going to cause you a lot of loss. Determine your stop loss on the market so that it's closed. Don't just keep on moving it further and further. You're just fooling yourself. You're going to make up for it in the future. I told you that if this candlestick is completed like that, if we have a candlestick base here, the next candlestick is going to decline. Why is that? When the 23 level is broken and we have a continuation candlestick, when the neck here is opened, you should start buying. Why shouldn't you? Because you may think to yourself that it's going to go up and after that it's going to decline. No, you have rules. It's going to decline when it reaches the pivots, and your pivot is right there. Take an order, determine your stop loss and take profits, take the order based on the strategies and techniques, and then do whatever you want. When you come back to your trade, you see that you have gained a lot of profits. I've had many accounts throughout these years. I have gained a lot of profits in a lot of them. I'm at a point right now that when I gain $1,000 or $2,000 of profits, it doesn't even matter to me. It's nothing to me. Because it's not interesting for me anymore. I'm not stressed out on the market anymore. That is what makes it interesting for you. But right now, I have gained so many profits here that it's not attractive to me anymore. You have to reach this point. Don't be afraid. I'm telling you. I'm telling all of you. If you're taught by the best traders in the world, and if you're still afraid you're going to be unsuccessful, I told you that when you see this, a certain thing is going to happen. There are rules on the market that are always the same. They always work out. It never changes. This is the rule. A lot of professional traders are trading on the market based on these technical points. They are buying or selling, and they're creating these waves for you. They're creating the price for you. And all of them start selling, and it causes a decline. And people who don't know anything about the market, the 90% of you that are losing money are the ones that are creating the market. Comply with the rules. If you can't do that, if you can't control yourself, close the order, close the leverage. If you can't find the trend in that moment, if you have doubts, wait for 1 hour or 2 hours. Keep on watching the market. Don't do anything. But don't keep on watching the market 24/7. Your mind will be tired, and when that happens, you're going to make mistakes. Your brain is not going to work out very well because you're tired, because you don't understand what's happening. Why is that on Mondays you're very energized, you're very happy to start trading because the market had been closed for 2 days? Your mind is not tired. But if you start trading by chance, that's not going to make you successful. You just have to believe in yourself. That's it. Believe in your beliefs. Anything you want is possible. You just have to want it. Don't be afraid. That's okay if you lose. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter that you have lost a lot in the market. You can make up for it. Don't expect to put money on the market so that you can pay your debts. You should never do that because you're going to be too afraid. You're going to thinking about the debt. And when you're online and working on the market, it doesn't matter if your phone rings. This is the market you can always gain money from. If you comply with the rules, you will gain money easily. The most powerful trader analyzer is human brain. I haven't used expert once in my life. I've seen it, but I've never used it. Because they're not successful. It may gain you money for 1 week, 2 weeks, even 3 weeks, but after that it has ruined the account. Why is expert successful when you don't have any news on the market? Because it's a robot. It doesn't know, it's not afraid. It's a robot. But if you have news published in a chart, it doesn't work out. Close the order, become a robot that knows what's happening. Okay, so everyone, that's it for today. Please comply with the rules. I know that for days and months you haven't been complying with the rules. You have been doing whatever you wanted. But you shouldn't do that. You can be a big trader. You can even write books about this. You can be a great businessman. You just have to want it. Any questions? No, thank you. Thank you so much. You're welcome. You're very welcome. Thank you. Have a good day. You too. Tomorrow is the last day of the market. If you're tired, rest, sleep. Tomorrow we're going to have a good market around evening. Good luck, everyone. Good night. You too. Goodbye.